We did today. Potentially. Just depends if we get a breeze. Because it was 4 days last week, it was fine, but it was windy. And then Friday, it wasn't windy. So we started getting the gases on Friday and then today. So if we had a breeze, that would potentially help.
Breeze in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because when the storm was here and it was blowing out of the north,
Right.
this end of the building
What's that?
was really fixable. That's what we're trying to figure out. That's why Shane's
We
here.
don't have a great option, but we have options.
Are any of the options ever spectacular?
Mhm.
I said, are any of the options ever spectacular? They don't come with conditions.
No, no,
Options come.
Well, this would have been.
no. Oh, yeah, that seems to be.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good to hear what you're doing.
Right.
Call to order the regular council meeting for the town of Evansville. May I have roll call, please?
Mayor Chad Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Candace Machado.
Here.
Councilmember Dacia Edwards.
Here.
Councilmember Greg Flesvig.
Here.
Councilmember Phil Gerking.
Here.
Town Attorney Scott Murray asked to be excused tonight. Town Engineer Shane Porter.
Here.
Chief of Police Mike Thompson. Fire Chief Leo Malsom asked to be excused tonight, and in his presence is Assistant Fire Chief Mark Cornett. Public Works Director Robert Llewellyn. Town Clerk Janelle Underwood, and the rest of the citizens.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 1, consent agenda. Approval of the minutes for the regular meeting, January 8th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Item 2, ordinance number 7, 2023.
Mr. Mayor and Council, brought before you tonight is ordinance 7-2023. This is an ordinance of the town of Evansville for the employee handbook, and it's brought before you on third and final reading tonight. And this is to repeal the current employee handbook with the contingency of resolution 1-2024 being presented for approval to approve a new employee handbook. Brought before you tonight on third and final reading.
Any questions regarding ordinance number 7? None. Do I have a motion to approve ordinance number 7?
I move.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Item 3, resolution number 1, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, council brought before you tonight is a resolution adopting the Town of Evansville Employee Handbook. This is a handbook that we have been working on for the last couple of months. There was some additional language that was added last Friday by the town attorney that defined a little clearer about the accrual of the sick time and at what rate the employees accrue that sick time. And then one additional item was on page 2 with the adoption date being February 1. The ordinance has to go through a 10-day period that will become in full force and effect, repealing that employee handbook, and this new handbook will go into place February 1. And it's brought before you tonight for approval.
Any discussion on resolution number 1?
Yes. You know me, I'll have to bring up something. There was a couple areas that, first of all, you guys, I know, Mary, you were very instrumental in it, and I know you had some help and awesome job. I mean, it was obvious. I believe me, I read almost every word, and it had to be a lot of work. So I commend you for that. That was awesome. There was a couple things that are just a little bit weird or concern me. One of them is part-time employees are not really mentioned, other than the only place I could see it was with bereavement. It says all employees are eligible for bereavement leave.
I
wonder if it's in the definitions of part-time.
Traditionally, part-time employees don't receive the same benefits.
Right. Well, that was what was kind of, that maybe the wording needs to be repaired.
So it says on the part-time position of employment, a position in which the employee is regularly scheduled to work less than 40 hours in 1 week period.
Right.
Um,
But then again, when we had the work session, we had talked about that was a benefit that would also go to part-time. There was some talk about it. I don't know how far that went or anything, but it was kind of in the notes. But I don't know if that was meant to be there or not.
So you're saying right now it reads that
All employees, anyway, I think it should be all full-time employees, correct? Isn't that what it's meant to be? And then that was one of them. The other thing is, and until the last few years, it hasn't been a big concern, but cost of living raises. And I guess my suggestion would be that if we could put that in there someplace with the provision that funds are available, that because we do have the step increases in there.
Right. So
And I don't know if maybe this has been addressed and I missed it someplace.
So when we did the wage and compensation study last year, basically those annual steps are built in there. So at budget time, council will approve those annual steps.
Okay,
there.
well,
And
yeah,
we can also approve a cost of living above and beyond that.
oh, we can.
Yes.
Okay, because that was my question. Because it's been, I don't know how everybody else's budget is, but I know what's happened to mine in the last 2 or 3 years. And it's not a pretty sight, but
Yeah,
So-
we can make, actually, we've done this over the past few years. We've made mid-year adjustments
okay.
for bonuses, cost of livings. So council's prerogative can do that at any time, which I think is probably better than trying to
Yeah,
spell
and
something
that's
out.
fine. I just, the other thing is with the vacation pay, we can, and I don't have a problem with accruing the 240 hours. You know, that's not a huge deal. But it kind of seems to me that employees should be required to maybe take a week's vacation every year. That, you know, so that I think everybody needs a break, for one thing. And secondly, having been in business myself for my whole life, almost my whole life, that sometimes it doesn't hurt for employees to be gone for a week to see how things operate when they're not there.
True, but I don't think that we can require someone to take a week's. I don't feel like someone tell me, hey, you have to take a week. Well, I don't need a week, but then let's say in 6 months I get mono. I don't think that, I think it's your time, you earned it, you should be able to use it. when
But the
you want.
mono's the sick pay.
It could be, yeah. Or let's say I have a sick kid, I don't think that we should tell us when they can use their time.
We're not telling them when, it just sometime during the year. I know the company that I work for, you can carry forward 40 hours, but you can't carry forward
But I
80.
I feel like we would be overreaching if we made it required
Yeah.
for the employees.
Yeah.
And I'm looking at the town employees right now. I would feel like I would be overstepping a line by saying you're required to take this amount of time and this amount of time. And I would pose it back to you guys because I remember this discussion when we had it. And I remember that you had posed the same thought
I did.
in that discussion, but I still think that we would be overstepping and overreaching if we were telling town employees what they can and cannot do in terms of their personal time.
That they've earned.
I don't agree with us making that a requirement. I think that they should be able to take their time the way that they choose and us not imposing that on them. Gentlemen, do you have any thoughts on this since you are town employees?
In my opinion, the way we're structuring this, we are encouraging them to use that. Because of the accrual rate you will have and the amount you can carry.
Once
over,
they've been here for a while, I understand that.
You're going to be forced to take it or you're going
Okay.
to lose it
Right.
yourself. So I think we're trying to encourage them to take that, and I would say we would continue that as well as being supervisors. Encourage
Right.
people to take that time off and take that time to decompress. But I tend to agree. I think mandating it might be
It's just still a
Absolutely.
concern of mine, but, and it's not so much that we're demanding it, but I don't think it hurts employees to be gone for a week to make,
I
There's-
agree,
there's-
and I think that in my mind, that's one of the main focuses of this was really to provide those benefits to the employees. And we ended up giving them more time
Right.
in order for them to take away and to get
Correct.
that recuperate.
Yep. Okay.
As far as the employer-employee relationship, yes, I agree that we should not mandate, taking time off or anything. That's solely
Awesome.
the employee's discretion.
That's no problem. And then the only other thing that I had was, this has been, dates me back a long ways, but when I worked for this, and I don't know, Mayor, if the city of Casper still does this or not, but back when I was with the city, you could accumulate 200 hours of sick time. And then if you hadn't used that, you got it as a bonus, anything over that 200 that you had accrued, you got a bonus in December.
The city stopped that probably 7 years ago.
Okay,
So in, what we do is we pay out, well, up to 96 hours of sick time if you leave employment. So that's a
right,
benefit.
right. Okay.
Pay out that 96 hours.
So, but anyway, the part-time thing was the biggest thing that I had was, and then I had, and the concerns about the,
Just the definition for part-time and then bereavement, but we can certainly, add that, being as how this
Make an
is by, make an
yeah,
amendment.
and it's all you gotta do is just change all employees to full-time. employees.
Correct.
Yeah. Because otherwise it kind of reads,
So are you putting forth a motion to amend
yes.
the, can you find out how?
So you're putting forth a motion to amend, item 6, bereavement leave from all employees to full-time employees.
Correct. I gotta get my way on one thing.
It's give and take.
Do I have a second?
I second, yes.
Any discussion?
Just to clarify, if we amend this, then what happens with the new employee handbook? If we amend it, does that are there any repercussions on the back end? Or we just keep moving forward, we just fix it,
We,
we keep moving forward?
because it's being approved by resolution, it doesn't require the 3 readings.
Okay.
And because it's been amended, as long as that motion carries, and as long as it passes as amended by resolution, then we'll just make that correction in the employee handbook. And come February 1, this will be the new employee handbook until something else
I
changes.
just wanted to make sure that it wasn't going to back us up.
No.
In any way.
No.
Okay.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right, then it passes. So do I
So
have,
then, are you doing it?
Yep.
Okay.
do I have a motion to approve resolution number 1 as amended?
second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right, motion passes. Item 4, ordinance number 1, 2024.
Mr. Mayor, council brought before you tonight is ordinance 1-2024. This is an ordinance fixing the tax levy for 2024 and providing an effective date therefore. It's brought before you tonight on second reading. And this ordinance is setting the tax levy at 8 mil, also known as the general tax, to meet the current expenses. And this is the same rate that has been in previous years. Brought before you tonight on second reading.
Any discussion? Our motion to approve ordinance number 1, 2024.
I move.
second.
Any discussion?
Do we need to make it higher?
We can't.
No, you're right, wrong thing. I'm
That's-
thinking about something else, sorry.
Okay.
Sorry. Sorry.
Any other discussion? All those in favor?
I,
All right. Ordinance number 1 passes. Where do we want to put the engineer?
Well, I wonder if we just want to do that in council updates.
Okay.
You could start it with you.
All right, so number 5, council updates. I'll kick off and start. So after our discussion at the last meeting about the dog park, I want to express thanks to Public Works who went out and cleaned up the dog park. Much thank you to that. And please, I would like to encourage our residents to please be responsible and pick up after your dogs when you're using the facilities. So thank you very much to Public Works. Any other updates?
piggybacking on that, I did go look today and it looks much, much better. I mean,
Great.
I don't see, there's a little bit, but there's always gonna be something.
Great.
You know, so, but it looks much, much better.
Great. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Any other updates? All right. We do have an update from the town engineer.
So, Mayor and Council, so that, Mayor asked me to come tonight. The town hall, after we replaced the sewer service out through the street, town hall, we've been experiencing the sewer smell, sometimes really bad smell at times. I haven't actually been here when it's been bad, but it sounds like it's been bad on numerous occasions. So I guess just a little background on that. So the old sewer service went from town hall through the parking lot, across the street, and into the alley. And so when we started looking at how to replace that line, and actually, so when we did the camera, the belly was out in the parking lot. There was actually a belly in the line that's full of water, so you can tell it's backing up within the parking lot. So when we started our design or looking into the design, we looked at what it would take to get across the street and into the alley again. And we also looked out in 3rd Street, on this side of 3rd Street, is the city of Casper's, it's called the 201 sewer, the 201 interceptor sewer. It's the regional sewer line that collects all of Evansville. And actually, after doing some checking, it actually collects basically everything on East Casper from Home Depot East. So there's quite a bit going into that line. It's a 36-inch concrete pipe. And so we looked at it, and the benefits of it when we were looking at it is it's about 3 feet deeper. So we could get more of a grade on our service. And less distance. We didn't have to cut up as much street and go clear across the street. So it's shorter distance. So we looked at it as a benefit due to costs and due to get more grade on the line. So when we talked to the city of Casper to see if we could tie into that line, and they said we don't usually allow many services on that line, But yes, you can tie onto it as long as you're careful when you make the tap, because we had to core drill the concrete pipe. And then also they recommended putting a check valve in our service. We did that down in the basement, a check valve that actually has a flapper, and the intent would be to help reduce some of those gas. So we did that. And then here we are with a tremendous amount of gas coming back. So we're looking at options. We did, actually, it was a recommendation from Krista Johnson, who runs the City of Casper Sewer Department. Krista recommended to put odor eater. What we think's happening is we think that there's vents in the line. It turns out, I think there's 6 of them. There's vents in the line. The sewer service come up through the roof, and it's made to vent the gas. Well, what's happening is the gas is venting, and there's a lot of it, and the air handler is sucking it back in and putting it back in the building. And so we've got kind of just cycling that right now. So we found, Krista Johnson recommended, these things are called a odor hog. They got a carbon filter in them that they go on top of those vents, and that carbon filter is supposed to trap the gas. Sound like they work pretty well, but Janelle did find out it sounds like they don't recommend in the winter that the bags might freeze. So we've got 4 of them installed now. Got 2 more that we need to install. There's actually 2 more vents than we originally thought. There's 2 more that are in order that we can install. And I guess we're going to have to see if those help. If they do freeze up in the winter, we've got a short window here. Well, just, we're going to see if they work or not, I guess. But looking at, our options, if they don't work, our options are to tear up the sewer service that we just did, relay it across the street and go into the existing line, Evansville's line in the alley. So which means that we'll have to, like I said, replace what we just did, tear up 3rd Street across the street and go into that line in the alley. So we've actually got a design on that. The problem is, it's not ideal. It's about a 0.6% grade. So that means it's 0.6 feet in 100 feet. So we're about 250 feet over there. So we've got a little over a foot of drop in that line, which isn't much. DEQ minimum that they recommend is 2%, which is why we tried to get that grade by going to the interceptor sewer. Now it can be done. The risk of laying out of 0.6% is if there's some settlement over time, they end up with a belly again. I think, construction practices now versus where they were in the 80s, I think it can be done and be done well. They use a laser grade. So, they set that with the laser, bed it with good material. So I think they can do it. It's just not ideal. You're going to have a flatter slope on that sewer line, but you won't have the gases to deal with. So that's an option still. I talked to the contractor this afternoon, and he's going to work up the cost on that. I think, as he said, it's likely to be real close to what it was before, which was about $65,000. So we're talking about another $65,000 potentially. I'll work with him to try to get that reduced as much as we can, understanding the situation we're in and that we've already paid him once, and hopefully we can get some kind of break that hopefully he can work with us and get as good a price as we can on that. Option 2 again is not ideal. Option 2 would be to go in with more of a lift station. Not a big lift station like we have throughout town. It'd be more of almost a residential type unit. It would still have 2 duplex pumps in it, but you could set that lift station in there and then run a force main. Probably even run the force main down the sewer service that we just installed, and somehow have to cut over and get into our other service and still tie in over there. We'll still have the gases coming up the force main. If we do that, they won't make it into the building, but they still might be venting out of that wet well. So the best option would be to still tie into our line. Nobody likes lift stations. I know Robert's sitting back there going, I hate lift stations. They're a maintenance issue. Pumps go out, always go out at the wrong time. There'll be a duplex system. So if one pump goes out, the other one still should be good, but they are a maintenance issue. And the cost on it, I'm guessing the initial cost, I think, would probably be less than putting in the gravity sewer service line, but the maintenance cost over time might kind of wash that initial savings out. But there's a couple options there, and I just, Janelle called me to come here at 5 o'clock, so I didn't have time to really prepare any numbers. But our next council meeting is not till 3 weeks away. So I think, there may be some action we want to take tonight if we decide that we've got to go the route of just getting that thing dug up and get rid of that sewer smell. So, I guess I'm open to question you guys have.
Is there a way, is there a way to vent the gas away from where it's coming into the building? Is there a way to,
So I think they actually haven't been up there, but I think they did move some of those vent away. I think code recommends 10 feet is what I've heard. I don't know the code on that, but I've heard the code recommends those vents be 10 feet away from the air handler, and they were within like 5 or 6 feet. But I think they did move some of those to get, I don't know how far they moved them, Robert, do you know?
From where they were to about 10, 15 feet to the edge of the building.
It just depends though. I mean, it's not every day. If there's a real windy day, I think you're better. If it's a calmer day or depending on where the wind is, and no matter where you move them, it's heavier than air. So it's going to set. It's not rising. So that gas is settling. So it's just kind of there.
I'm trying to figure out a cheaper way to do this. So what if, so how does the air intake come into the building? Is it coming through the, like the air conditioning or?
There's a unit on the top of the room. That's a system.
Okay,
that brings in fresh air. So when it's kicking on the side, the unit on the end actually towards the side of the glasses. That is adjusting.
Sounds like when you get up on the roof, that smells kind of everywhere.
And correct me if I'm wrong, but once they moved the pipes, you started getting the smell out in the parking lot, is that correct?
So today, parking issues, those represented by the schools, the 4-inch panel grid is off the side. So that gas is being flowing directly into the previous gas system. And then what's heavy is access to air intake, it's so it's not going to the fender, it's coming out of the
So my concern is whatever, I mean, obviously, I do agree that if we need to come up with something has to be done, but my first thought is safety. Safety for the employees and the staff that are in the building. And what does that look like in terms of safety? I mean, with gases and things like that, I'm just thinking like, are the employees going to get sick? Are we going to be experiencing headaches, migraines? What are we looking at in terms of that?
Headaches are a symptom, I
I'm
think.
concerned for all of it, but I'm concerned specifically for the staff that are in and around this building day in and day out for hours on end. And I think that we have choices and decisions that we have to make, but I'm just thinking from a safety standpoint, especially with people who have, pre-existing conditions, people who have already health issues. How are we going to be able to protect them and keep them safe so that they're not experiencing
Well, it's not only that, but like,
additional illness?
it's also when you as a Evansville resident come in to pay your water bill or see the clerk over here. Because when I come in one day, it was horrible. And I'm like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't work here today. I have to go home sick. I couldn't do it because it's bad. I mean, but I understand that they have to learn to earn a wage too and be here at work.
And I think that's the reason why brought Shane in tonight, because I don't think it's something that we can just let go on.
Yeah.
We need to.
You can't leave it. It's got to be fixed.
yeah, so I just have a little bit of a follow-up here. So the valve that was put in to supposedly suppress this doesn't work?
No, I did a bunch of research on that. It was what was recommended by the city, and I think it's preventing the sewer gas. I think is a secondary to what the valve's designed for when if that sewer main backs up and the
That
sewer
it
comes
keeps
up,
it from.
it's gonna close then
Right.
because it's just on a gravity hinge, and so even anytime it's flush, that hinge opens. And if something's, toilet paper, whatever, it'll hang up and still leaves a little bit of a gap.
Sure.
If that line backs up, it's going to force it shut. So that's what its primary.
That's what its
purpose is.
Okay.
And it says in the literature, I mean, secondarily, it can help with sewer gas, but it's not closed enough to completely prevent it. So it's just,
If we do the, either one of the suggestions, the tie into our regular one or the other one that you, my question is will we continue to keep the things that you put on the roof, the 6 things or 4 things and 2 more coming? Will we keep that as well?
they won't hurt anything at all, that's for sure. So, I mean, you can keep them but we just won't have. So what happens is in the big interceptor, it's a 36-inch line. It's only flowing about 8 inches full. And so the rest of the line just fills up with the gas. And it's just, with that much movement through miles and miles, it just generates a lot of gas. Our line across the street is the end of the line. It's it's a dead end line that heads that way. It doesn't have the gas. I mean, it just doesn't. So to get into our line, you'll get rid of the gas.
And besides, my thoughts here, besides the benefit of shortening that up in the deeper one, is it was cost savings because we didn't have to run the line longer.
Right.
And I think what we're looking at now is that, we may not be able to save that
Well, and then the
money. Right.
So
Getting that additional slope on our line is a plus. And then, the savings and not going across.
So
the street.
which is the best long-term with the least maintenance?
The gravity.
That's what I think we should, because I agree with Candace. I think, safety's first, but I also think that we don't need to create a maintenance nightmare for down the road.
Well, I would agree.
That's my feelings.
And I guess a secondary option to that I was going to look into is, we tore up the line from the building out to the street, tore up the old line, had the belly in it. We went right through it, got it out of the way. From there across the street, we never did camera that. So I think it's still maybe worth, that line's still there. So it may be worth running a camera down the old clean out and just checking the condition of that line. Maybe there's a chance that it's in good shape and flowing and we can tie onto it and not have to tear the street up. So there's still, I don't know yet until we do a little more checking, but there may be a chance we can still save from tearing up the street. But I don't know.
I think that would sound like a good idea to do, just to double check, see if that is an option for us. I think that that's a good idea. I still go back to that safety piece of in the interim while we're waiting, what will we be putting in place as a town to make sure that we are covering the safety of the staff that are in this building.
In the interim, about all we can do is those odor hogs on the top and hope that they do clean that gas up. We've got some of installed, but the biggest line up there is a 4-inch line and it doesn't have anything on it yet. So hopefully by the end of the week, so there's still several days that it could be an issue. And maybe hopefully by the end of the week, that thing does help. They come, good recommendations. I mean, a lot of good research on those that they do work well, but I don't know if they're made for the kind of gas we're seeing either. It's just a lot. So besides that, and the interim, besides that, I don't know they're just plugging it up and not using it. I mean, it would be if we're worried about right now and through the week would be to go back to porta potties and put a plug in that thing and completely block the gas.
Will the plug work? Because I want to think when I was here, they had porta potties outside, right?
No, we was back on. They were still here, but we was back on.
Okay.
Yeah.
There's an area of the floor that we haven't put back in because that's where that valve is. They could get in there and cut that valve apart and literally plug it, and it would work. It would plug.
I think
You
that's
just
what you-
won't have sewer for when you talk to the contractor and see when he could get out to do this work. So he would just be without sewer, but you would also be without the gas.
Because it's going to take you a few days to find out what's going on.
It's going to take us a few days to do the research and whether the contractor can mow back in immediately and get right on it. I mean, I think it's probably a week's worth of work. So if he could get back in, we're down a pretty short time if he can get right back in here.
Well, and then depending if we can get that line camera, depending on how
Yeah,
soon we
if they
can
can
get
get out.
there. So.
If we can get them out tomorrow, it'd be great.
So the plug is the best way to go for immediate.
If we want to get rid of the gas in the immediate right now, plugging it would
I got the same concerns that
Is it two caps or is it one cap that goes on there for both sides of the line? My thought is if we cap our stuff, will we still get that city gas?
I think you will because it's a
Tight seal where we tied into that concrete pipe and grouted around it. There's clean outs out front, but they're a tight cap. I think if we just cut it and plug it that direction, I feel like it'll stop it.
I think we ought to also look at that resolution, approve the resolution.
I agree.
Have
I
it wait
agree.
till the next meeting, so I think if council's open to it, that if we would approve the final fix, we can do a plug as stopgap while we get there, but I think we should approve the final fix as well and get it once and for all.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a chance that these odor hog would take care of the problem. They're not a large investment, about 120 a piece. No, they're about $80. Call it $100 a piece.
Well, the price goes up on the pipe size. But I ordered some extra of the carbon in fear that because of the type of gas that we're dealing with, that we're going to go through those carbon filters a lot faster.
It could be, I mean, you can see if they work, but if they don't, then you've lost this time. If they do work, you've got a maintenance issue on them throughout forever.
And I just question the ability to put that device on to stop something this severe.
I don't.
And
Yeah.
I'm a little concerned with the fact that they have warnings about winter. That is the primary season that we have.
That is true.
Yeah, I agree. We've had a mild winter this winter, but
So far.
we could have,
Still early.
we could have one of those other ones.
I think if
In a
we're
hurry.
relying on these devices, we may become dependent upon them. And 6 devices up there, if you have one fail and create this, are we just gonna keep recycling this process
Three
over and
gallons
over
is-
again?
Well, and it's definitely not getting any cheaper to fix it.
Well, and under normal uses, they say that a filter can last, I think, up to 2 years, but I'm afraid in this case, we might be maybe monthly. I
Yeah,
don't
the
know.
amount of gas we're dealing with, it could
Yeah.
clog them up monthly. I don't know. So,
I'm worried that we might be repeating the same situation over and over again.
So we just need to coordinate then as far as getting porta potties back here. Ready, we can get it capped and plugged and get rid of it, get rid of the gas.
Excuse me. Do we need to approve a certain amount of money, or how do we do this?
Approve the dollar amount or approve the part of the job?
I think at this point, repair the job and maybe have a cap on it.
Yeah, I mean,
I,
if he's telling me, I mean, he's gonna work on a number and I think I can get him down pretty good, but I don't know if he wanted to guarantee you're safe, if you want to do $75,000, that guarantees you're safe, or even 100, just to be
I was
safe.
thinking 100.
I think,
So, yeah, I think we just need to get the job fixed, in my opinion.
So I'd motion that we, get the sewer job line done, fixed. Cap it, right? To plug it?
Cap it for temporary and
Yeah,
then
the
repair, fix the
temporary
line.
plug, so that we
permanently.
can fix the line permanently. I motion. Thank you, second.
I said,
Any discussion?
And I guess, I don't know if we need to add this in there, but I think we need to do the one that you were talking about, that's gonna be the least maintenance down the road. Don't
My
you
thought
think?
was is let's,
Let's see,
Get the numbers.
see what's
get
there.
this planned.
Okay.
because we're,
yeah,
we're kind of approving before we know exactly what's going on, but it's due to the time period, because I'm with everybody else, this is something that's hard on the employees.
Right,
And I think we need to
okay.
resolve as quickly as
Yep.
possible. And in my opinion, I'm looking at Shane as the town engineer to bring us forth that best
Mhm,
option.
mhm.
Right now, we think that's a gravity line. Once you dig into it, if that changes, I would have asked that you keep everyone in the loop.
Yeah,
I think we need to
I'm-
move as quickly
I'm
as
good.
possible to-
Yeah.
I'm good.
For the safety of the employees and the town. and
I'm good.
just resolve it.
Did we have a dollar amount? Did I miss that?
100.
Okay, at
So,
100?
Right now, the motion doesn't have a dollar. amount.
Oh, doesn't, okay.
Yeah, no,
It was
We're not gonna put a dollar amount on it?
Certainly can, it's up to, it's,
I don't
Whatever,
think we
whatever
need-
you guys want.
that's
I
what
don't
my
think-
thought was we just gotta get
in
the
my
job done.
opinion, we don't need a dollar amount. We gotta get it fixed. And we just have to, we may have to have Chief Mike go pick my.
Chief Thompson, I might need a bologna sandwich, but we gonna get it fixed now.
So, and I appreciate you, Shane, working with the contractor to work out the best deal for us and all that. So right now, I guess we have a motion on the table to repair the line. That was seconded.
yeah, I second.
Any further discussion?
Nope.
Or amendments?
I don't have discussion for the amendments. I just want to double check while we're getting all of this situated. What are we doing this week for the employees?
We'll get porta potties in here.
ASAP.
And check with contractor and see about getting it plugged out.
Yeah, I mean, I literally think we could get it plugged tomorrow. If we can get the employee taken care of for other facilities.
And even if we can't get,
Cut it, get it in, so.
and if we can't get a porta potty out here tomorrow, we've got the fire station, we've got the community center.
We
But
do have,
Will we be keeping windows, doors open for?
As needed for.
long as the gases are coming out.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
And
that
it
we're doing
just-
everything that we can be doing for you guys.
And it just depends on the air. Now, last week, for the most part, we didn't have problems until Friday.
Yeah.
Friday, we started having problems, and then today. So if we have a breeze out there, we might be fine. It just depends on the weather.
all right, we have anything else? Discussion? All those in favor?
I,
Any opposed? Not really engineer's report, so I don't have to approve that. Item 6, public comments. We have public comments this evening. Any public comments?
Mayor, Council, I spoke today with Lorraine Lane about her donations of trees. The Town of Evansville, she's looking to donate 6 trees in total, 3 apple trees, 3 pear trees. Right now, we are looking at putting them just north of the walking path by where the garden box is located currently. We'll have some irrigation in there shortly, so it shouldn't be an issue with water. We will have an individual that's an expert in his field, an arborist, come take a look at the soil conditions. Because the last thing I want to do is put a 20-foot tree in a big pile of sand that's going to roll over in the finally winter. So as we keep getting more information, I'll keep you guys updated. I think that meeting was very productive and hopefully everything works out for us.
Thank you. Any
thank you.
questions? Thank you, Robert. Appreciate it. Any other public comments this evening? Public comments this evening? All right, hearing none, entertain a motion to adjourn.
No motion?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
I,
All right, meeting adjourned at 7:40.
Then I just need signatures from everybody.
Yeah.
Yes, the headaches.